welcome to the next episode of Storytime. My name is Mihini McJohnson, and I'm so happy that you decided to join me again. Today, I'm going to be retelling you guys another one of my all-time favorite classic stories. So right now, let's go ahead and get our imaginations going. Go ahead and put on your hats. If you guys weren't able to join me last time, we're going to have a segment where we design our own imagination hats that we take with us on our journey, okay? You can make them any shape or any color that you want. Put different patterns on it. You can put diamonds and sparkles on it, whatever you want, okay? Alright, and then when it's done, go ahead and put it on your head. And let's get going. Today I'm going to be telling you the Mihini McJohnson version of the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. Alright, here we go. Once upon a time, there lived on a farm a little old lady and her grandson, Jack. Jack was a curious little boy around the age of 7, and him and his grandma did everything they could just to survive and put food on the table after his parents passed away a few months back. Jack's grandma was a dancer of some sort at night, that's all he knew. For being an 87-year-old lady, she sure still could get around and had quite a bit of pep in her step. One morning, after coming home from work, Grandma saw Jack playing alone out by the road. Jack, are you kidding me right now? I told you 100 times, you're gonna get busted by a car if you keep playing so close to the road, Grandma yelled at him. Jack frowned, and Grandma knew something was wrong. What's wrong, Jack? Is everything okay? Grandma said. No, Grandma, everything's not okay. I miss Mom and Dad so much, and all of the other kids make fun of me because I only have 2 outfits. I'm so sick of being poor. Grandma looked at him for a second and could relate to his sentiment. Come on, Jack, get in. I'll take you home. When they arrived back home, she drove up to the barn instead of the house. What are we doing here? Said Jack. Grandma's eyes shifted over to the cow. Why don't you take Betty down to the market and see how much you can get it for? But she's our last cow, Grandma, Jack said. Look, Jack, your father was the one that took care of the farm, and I don't see how we're going to keep the business going any longer without him. I know things are hard right now, but things will get better, Jack. They always do. Plus, you can buy yourself new outfits while you're there. You should get quite a bit for Betty. Jack thought about it for a second. Oh, what the heck? Come on, Betty, let's get going. Oh, wait, Jack! Here's a shopping list of some things I need you to get for me after you sell the cow. She handed Jack a crumpled up piece of paper. He opened it and read it to himself. Baby oil, milk, whipped cream, eggs, candles, and fabric softener. What is Grandma doing? Oh, and grab something for us for dinner tonight. There ain't nothing left in the pantry. Grandma yelled as she started walking back over to the house. Whatever. Come on, Betty, let's get going. Around 2 o'clock, Jack and Betty arrived at the market. To his left, there was an old-looking hot dog stand with a very large snow cone machine. On the right, there was a Cinnabon, a Jamba Juice, and a Sizzler Steakhouse. Oh my goodness, I'm definitely going to be stopping there on the way out, Betty. Jack's mouth watered. They kept walking until they came to a dead end. Well, I don't see anybody here who buys or sells cows. Where did they all go, Betty? And just then, he felt a tap on his left shoulder. Excuse me, you there, sir? Is that cow for sale? He heard a very strange voice behind him say. He turned around, and an extremely tall and skinny man with some out-of-place overalls was standing very close to him. Why, yes, do you have a store here? Said Jack. No, me and my lady friend were just cruising through town and happened to stop here. We own a small farm way up in Broomsville, replied the tall man. Where the heck is Broomsville? Jack thought to himself. Okay, I'll sell him to you. I'll take 12,000 cash, no checks, Jack shouted confidently. The man put his hand in his pocket and pulled out 5 very small beans. What are those? Jack asked the man. These are magic beans. You can get way more than 12,000 for these. Just plant them in the ground, and you can have anything that you want. Jack thought about it for a second. You know what? Deal! Let's do it. Give me the stuff. The man handed Jack the beans, and Jack hurried home to tell his grandma what he'd got from the market. Around 6 o'clock, Jack finally arrived back home. Grandma! Grandma! Look what I got from the market! Jack pulled out the beans from his pocket. What in the heck are those, Jack? These are magic beans, Grandma. Magic beans? You got magic beans from the market? Yep, I sure did. This creepy old man gave them to me. Where did you get my stuff from the shopping list, like I asked you? She asked him. No, we don't need that stuff, Grandma. We can get anything that we want with these magic beans, Jack told her. What in the Sam heck? You traded Betty for some magic beans? Jack, there's no such thing as magic beans. What the heck are we gonna do now? We can't even eat tonight. You could have gotten enough money for us to live very comfortably for the next few months, Jack. You never listen to me. You are so ungrateful. She just kept yelling at Jack and screaming at him. Jack started to get so mad. Well, if it was so important, why did you send a 7-year-old little boy to the market to do it for you? Jack yelled. That comment made Grandma so mad. Smack! She just smacked Jack right across the face. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jack. I don't know what came over me. Jack felt the beans in his hand. You know what, Grandma? I hate you, and I never want to see you again. Jack ran outside and threw the beans as far as he could. Stupid beans, he shouted, and he went back inside to his room and slammed the door. Don't you be slamming doors in my house, young Jack. He heard Grandma yell from the living room. Jack sat there for a moment. Then he finally started to cry, and he didn't even know what to think. But it was in the comforting memories and thoughts of his parents that Jack finally fell asleep. Suddenly, Jack woke up as if somebody shook him. It was still dark out. He had dreamt of a majestic city made of diamonds and gold, and it was as if something was calling to him. Then he remembered the beans that he threw outside. Jack jumped up. He put on his pants and ran outside. But he saw nothing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I fell for that guy's stupid magic beans. Jack started to get very angry at himself. Then he started to get hungry, so he went inside to the pantry, but there wasn't anything to eat. After staring at the empty pantry for a while, he remembered his grandma, and he started to feel very sorry for saying that he hated her. All of a sudden, he heard a loud rumbling coming from outside, and the ground was shaking. Oh no, it's an earthquake! Jack screamed. He hid under the table. After a short while, it stopped. Jack sprinted outside and looked up in complete awe. Oh my gosh! What in the... Jack saw a massive beanstalk coming out of the ground that went way up into the sky. You gotta be kidding me! Jack mumbled to himself. This is awesome! In your face, Grandma! In your face! So Jack ran inside and grabbed his shoes and a bottle of water. Let's go, baby, come on! Jack started to climb, and after a little while, he wished that he would have brought some gloves. He kept catching the occasional thorn on his side and arms and legs. Man, this is taking forever, Jack said to himself. He pulled out his bottle of water from his pocket and took a sip. Ah, delicious. I'll show you, Grandma. He kept climbing until he was all the way up into the clouds. Just a little bit further. Jack struggled to push through the last bit of the bush of the beanstalk. Wow! Would you look at that? Unbelievable! Jack said in complete ecstasy. This is absolutely amazing! Grandma is going to be so happy when she hears about this. Jack could hardly contain himself. He had never seen such a beautiful-looking place. He was overlooking a huge kingdom made of shimmering diamonds and the shiniest gold that he's ever seen. The architecture was astounding, and even the trees seemed to sparkle like emeralds, and the houses were made of big purple crystals. There were the biggest, most beautiful flowers everywhere. He wondered if he was still dreaming, Jack picked up a branch from the beanstalk and smashed himself right in the face with it. Ouch! Dang it! Okay, I'm not dreaming. This is magnificent, he thought to himself. Jack started to walk down the path to the kingdom into an area that looked like a beautiful garden. There were butterflies and grasshoppers and happy little bugs everywhere. He kept hearing little insect voices. Hi, hello, welcome, hello, hi there, so happy to have you, hello, they all said. He could feel a warm, beautiful breeze on his skin. Man, this place is off the chain, son. Jack was in heaven. He kept on walking down the path for a while, just taking in everything that his senses could handle. Then Jack paused. Oh, what in the... Then he caught a deep whiff of what smelled like the most stunning, magical apple pie. Where is that coming from? I want to taste it so badly, Jack said out loud. Shh! You better be quiet, or you're gonna end up in the big man's mashed potatoes, he heard a little voice say. As he looked up to see who it was, the cutest little green and white striped frog jumped up onto his shoulder. My name is Little Poo Poo. What's your name? Said the frog. My name's Jack. Well, hi, Jack. I'm gonna seriously advise you to keep that mouth of yours closed. There are giants up here that would love to make you their next meal. Giants? Jack yelled in surprise. Shh! I said keep your mouth closed, dang it. You don't listen very well, do you, son? The frog stated. Just then, Jack thought of his grandma. No, Poo-Poo, I don't. Apparently, I'm having a very hard time learning that lesson, he whispered. Where can I get some of that apple pie, though? I want it. Well, you can go to the giant's house at night when he's not home, and his wife will let you have some. She's a very, very nice lady. Just make sure that he is not there when you go. Otherwise, you are gonna end up in his tummy. Well, how do I get there? Jack asked the frog. They live down the walkway around the east side of the lake, said Poo-Poo. Okay, well, thanks for your words. I'll make sure to wait until he's gone, Jack responded thankfully. Jack kept walking and following the smell of that marvelous apple pie. Look, there's the house, he said to himself. There was a wall of dazzling emerald vines on the side of the house that led up to an open window. And on top of it, you know it, baby, that beautiful apple pie. Jack waited a little bit until it was completely dark, and then he climbed up the vines to the window. Right when he got to the top, he saw that beautiful apple pie. It was a huge pie after all, the size of a swimming pool. Jack was overwhelmed. He was walking on top of an apple pie. And then he came to a big crack in the crust. Oh man, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyways, he said, and he jumped straight into the pie. Oh no! Jack immediately regretted his decision. He was struggling to stay above the thick pie filling. Oh no, somebody help me! I'm drowning! Yelled Jack. And right when he was about to go under, he felt something lift him out of the pie.
Well, hello, little one. Did you have a nice swim?
Jack looked up, and to his amazement, he saw a massive and hairy giant lady wearing an apron. Are you going to eat me? Said Jack.
Oh, no, my dear. But my husband would if he sees you. It's a good thing you came here at night while he's working. He's on the night shift, dear, otherwise you would be toast.
The giant lady pulled him out of the pie.
Now hold your breath, my dear. We're going to get this pie filling off of you.
She held him in her fingers and ran him under the sink for a few seconds. Then she took a towel, dried him off, and sat him down on the counter.
So what did you think?
What did I think about what? Jack replied.
The apple pie, you silly goose. What did you think of it?
Oh, that. I'm sorry, I didn't really get to taste it. I was worried about drowning. She giggled and served him a piece of pie about the size of a human car.
Here you go, young laddie.
Jack immediately dug in and started vigorously eating the pie. Oh my gosh, this is so good! Just then, a door slammed open.
Honey, I forgot my glasses. Wait a minute. 3, 5, 5, I smell the blood of a tiny little boy, and I'm going to eat his brains,
The giant said.
Oh, Harold, stop being so dramatic. There's no little boy here.
She replied to the giant as she picked up Jack and pushed him back down into the pie.
Oh, yes, there is. I smell him. Little bugger, where are ya?
The giant started lifting up and throwing the furniture around like a crazy person.
I know he's in here. Where is he?
As the giant lifted up the table by the far window, Jack saw a small ring fall out of his pocket.
Oh, Harold, go to work. You've already been late 3 times this week. I'm surprised your boss hasn't fired you yet,
said the lady.
Oh, fine, very well.
And he walked out the door. Oh, thank you so much, Jack said to the giant lady.
It's no problem at all. That big buffoon will eat anything. Plus, anyone who likes my apple pie is a friend of mine. No worries.
I didn't get your name, said Jack.
My name is Helda Schwilfsler, Morning Chris Bonji Mosh of the Wimsley Manor van Lupensburg, the 4th of Regaldar, Maroni, Mongwedian, Roddingham Patriarchy. But you can call me Helda,
she told him. All right! Helda in the house, baby. You got the best apple pie in the land, Jack said as he danced around in celebration. The door slammed open again.
Henry, I forgot my... He's still here! Fee, fi, fo, fun! I smell the blood of a...
Oh, Harold, pipe down! You sound ridiculous! What did you forget this time?
Helda asked him.
I forgot my wallet!
The giant replied.
Okay then, Harold, just take it and be gone with you. I swear, if you get fired again, you're going to answer to my broomstick.
The giant grabbed his wallet off the end of the table and slowly tiptoed out the front door.
So sorry about that, young chap. Where were we? Oh, yes. So tell me, young Jack, why are you here? What brings you to this beautiful kingdom full of silly maniacs?
Helda asked curiously. Well, my grandma asked me to go to the market to sell our last cow so that we can have money to eat food and buy clothes and baby oil and whipped cream and...
So you guys need some money?
She asked. Well, yes, my grandma doesn't make that much money. She's some sort of dancer at night, and my parents passed away.
Oh dear, say no more. Here, let's get you cleaned up and I'm going to help you guys out.
She cleaned up Jack and set him down next to the fireplace.
I'll be right back, you sit here, young Jack,
said Helda. As he waited, he remembered the ring that the giant dropped. So Jack got up and ran over to the ring and tried to pick it up. But it was way too heavy. He heard Helda coming back from down the hallway.
Here you go, young Jack. See if this will work for you.
In her left hand were a few very large diamonds and golden coins and gems.
This should help you guys out. No worries. It's on me.
Oh, thank you so much, Helda. These do look really big and heavy, though. I don't think I'll be able to carry them all the way home. She looked at him and smiled, and then reached out her other hand.
This is a magic carrying bag I got from Ruby Dippington Village. It will make anything you put into it smaller and as light as air. You should be able to carry anything you'd like,
Helda replied. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. How can I ever repay you? Jack asked.
There's no need, young lad. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Jack ran up and gave her a big hug.
Now get going, young man, and stay off the main road, in case my nincompoop husband forgets something again.
Jack said goodbye and walked down the driveway. As he was leaving, he looked back one more time to see if Hilda was still there so he could wave to her again. Sadly, she was gone. He was already starting to miss her. Then, he saw sitting on the lawn a beautiful golden harp. Jack ducked down and snuck up to the harp. He pulled out his little magic bag that Hilda gave him, and as soon as he touched the harp, it shrunk into the size of Jack's hand, and he put it in. Oh, wow, that was trippy. Just then, a loud and piercing alarm noise came from the house. Frightened and scared out of his mind, Jack ran off their property and headed down the path to the garden as fast as he could. His heart was pounding. He had no idea what was happening. He just didn't want that big giant to come back into his brains. He ran and ran until finally...
Fee-fi-fo-fum! I smell the blood of a tiny little boy, and I'm going to eat his brains!
Out of fear, Jack froze. He couldn't move. The fear was so strong that he had been completely paralyzed by it.
Fee-fi-fo-fum! I smell the blood of a tiny little boy, and I'm going to eat his brains!
It was getting louder and closer.
Fee-fi-fo-fum!
The giant spotted Jack and shined the light on him. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You can have the harp back. Please don't eat my brains, Jack pleaded. The giant came closer and Jack still couldn't move. The fear had completely taken over and crippled him. The giant reached out his hand and picked Jack up.
I'm going to enjoy this. Your brains smell delicious,
the giant said as he tightened his grip on Jack. He lifted Jack above his head and snarled and laughed.
Fee-fi-fo-fum! I'm going to eat your brain!
And then all of a sudden, Jack fell to the ground. Jack hit the ground hard, but he was able to squiggle free from the giant's hand. Hilda? Is that you? Jack wondered, still very frightened. Heather emerged from the shadows.
Yes, my dear, are you all right?
She asked Jack. Yes, thank goodness you were here. I thought I was a goner. Hilda in the house!
Jack! Did you steal our golden harp?
Jack looked down in shame.
I give you diamonds and gold coins and gems and you steal from me!
Jack still looked down at the ground, feeling even worse for taking her harp. Hilda looked at Jack.
Jack, look at me! Look at me, young man!
Jack looked at her and caught her in the eyes, and he could see how sad she was.
Give me back the harp, Jack!
Jack took out the harp and handed it to Hilda. I'm so sorry, Hilda. I don't know what came over me. I just wanted...
I know, young Jack. Which is why I'm letting you keep the bag and take it home for you and your grandmother. Now go straight home, Jack, before this buffoon wakes up and tries to eat you again.
Is he? Jack wondered and concerned.
He's fine. I'm a master of pressure points. Now get going. Oh, and one more thing, Jack. Chop that beanstalk down when you get out of here. We don't need any more trouble from you.
But I'm sorry,
No buts, Jack. Cut it down, or I'll come down there and take everything in that bag back from you.
Okay, I promise, Jack said with remorse. Jack turned around and walked back down the long path to the garden. When he arrived back at the Beanstalk, he turned around to look at the kingdom. He saw the shimmering diamonds and all of the shiny gold, and really started to regret what he had done. Jack took a deep breath and took in all of its beauty one last time, and he started to climb back down the Beanstalk. On the way down, Jack started to think about his grandma and how much he missed her. He was so excited to see her again, and couldn't wait to tell her of his adventure in the kingdom in the sky. He missed her so much, and all he wanted to do was give her a big hug. When Jack could finally see his house, he could see his grandma standing there waiting for him. He could tell that she was worried about him. Jack hurried down, and when he could clearly see her, "Grandma! Grandma, grab the chainsaw!" he yelled. "What?" Grandma yelled back. "Grab the chainsaw! We gotta cut this thing down now! There's a giant chasing me! Hurry!" Grandma heard him and immediately ran to the shed and grabbed the chainsaw. She revved it up and started slicing into the beanstalk. As Jack got closer to the bottom, he slowed down to watch his grandma blast into the massive beanstalk. He knew that there was no giant chasing him, but Grandma didn't. He knew that he had to keep his promise to Helder to cut it down. Plus, if Grandma ever found out what was up there, she would definitely want to go see it, and he just didn't want to risk Grandma getting eaten. Just as Jack reached the ground, the beanstalk fell and smashed into the ground. Grandma turned off the chainsaw and ran over and gave Jack a big hug.
Well, I'll be darned,
She said to Jack.
magic beans, huh?
Yep, Jack said. Magic beans. The end! Well, that is always just a magical story. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed telling it. There's just a bunch of morals in that story. And I think the first one we can start with is that if your mom and dad ever ask you to go to the market, which is kind of weird, but if they do, then you gotta do exactly what they say. If they want you to sell something, you gotta get the money, not beans. Even though in this case, it kind of worked out pretty cool that he got a beanstalk out of it, but this is a fairy tale, okay? Real life, there's no beanstalks. Alright, so that leads us to the next one. If things do not belong to you, do not touch them. I think Jack just got greedy and he, went for the harp. It was not his, it didn't belong to him, and because of that, Helder sent him away and she made him cut down the beanstalk because she didn't want him to come back and deal with his nonsense of someone who steals from her. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's gonna steal from them. Alright? And I know there's a couple more in here, but I want you guys to go ahead and let me know what they are in the comments, okay? If you can think of something that I left out, go ahead and write it. Alright, thank you so much guys for joining me. And if you want to, go ahead and subscribe and get notified because we're going to be putting out even more stories. And I'll see you guys next time here